In this Winged Vehicle conversation, we'll be taking a look at the CW-21. The Curtiss-Wright Model 21 or CW-21 Demon was an American fighter interceptor produced by the Curtiss-Wright Company. It was designed by George A. Page of the St. Louis Airplane Division of Curtiss-Wright, based on the earlier civilian Model 19, which wasn't a huge success. Although the aircraft was designated as a fighter interceptor, it mostly fulfilled the latter role. Page designed the aircraft to be able to have a fast rate of climb, making the Model 21 able to attack without giving enemy bomber formations any form of a warning. When the Model 21 encounters an enemy fighter, however, pilots were advised against engaging in the dogfight and should instead climb away from the threat. All of this wasn't exactly anything like what the US Army was looking for, with the US Army Air Corps showing more interest in the P-40 Warhawk. This however didn't concern Page, as he designed the aircraft for export. The aircraft looks slightly odd, having a very thin tailbase and a rather large nose to fit the Wright 9-cylinder engine. To give the CW-21 its ability to climb, the aircraft was made out of aluminum alloy, making it as lightweight as possible. After a rather quick development, in September of 1938 the CW-21 first flew. And boy could it climb. Curtiss claimed the CW-21 will be able to climb at around 5,000 feet or around 1,520 meters per minute. It was however more likely that this was around 4,800 feet or 1,460 meters per minute. For comparison, the Spitfire Mark I, which entered service at around the same time, had a very decent climbing rate of around 2,500 feet or around 760 meters per minute. While this might seem great, the US tried and tested the aircraft and made clear it had absolutely zero interest in using or buying it. This didn't matter a lot though, as like said earlier, Curtiss made the CW-21 as an export model. So who was interested in the CW-21 Demon? Well, the Chinese, for example. China got their first CW-21 in February of 1939 and tested it against a wide range of aircraft, including the agile Soviet I-15. Surprisingly, making great use of its rate of climb, the CW-21 was able to get on the I-15's tail, proving its potential to be a good aircraft in the right hands. Not long after these tests, the CW-21 first took part in defending against Japanese bombers, allegedly shooting down one Japanese aircraft. This was, for now, the only CW-21 the Chinese had, up until the point it crashed. And they would never see the remainder of their aircraft, as the remaining aircraft were sent to China via British Burma. The Brits decided they would rather not anger the rapidly growing Japanese empire and held the CW-21s, avoiding the Chinese from defending their homeland with these aircraft. At around the time of the attack on Pearl Harbor, the American volunteer squadron Flying Tigers attempted to transport its CW-21s but crashed them all, likely due to bad fuel. Not only this squadron and the Chinese showed interest in the aircraft though, with an order of 24 CW-21s coming through for the Dutch Air Force. As the Netherlands fell in May of 1940, it was decided that the aircraft would be sent to the Dutch East Indies. Here, the CW-21s entered service with the 2nd Squadron. While in service with the Dutch, the flaws of the lightweight construction started to show as the aircraft started to crack. As the Japanese attacked the Dutch East Indies in early 1942, the CW-21s were sent into action, fighting against relatively similar Japanese Ki-43s. While on paper the aircraft were quite similar, in practice the Ki-43 had one major advantage: experienced pilots. The Dutch CW-21s claimed 4 kills before being destroyed either in the air or on the ground, together with almost all other aircraft in the Dutch East Indies. Overall, although the aircraft looked quite promising on paper, inadequate pilot experience, equivalent enemy fighter with far better pilots, troubles with exports and bad materials and constructions limited the CW-21's effectiveness. Around 55 CW-21s were produced. After the Dutch East Indies surrendered, the Japanese were able to capture one CW-21 alongside with a B-17. It is however unknown what happened to this aircraft, and as such no CW-21 survives today. Now let's take a look at this aircraft in War Thunder. In War Thunder, the Curtiss-Wright 21 Demon can be found as a battle rating of 2.7 at rank 1 for the Chinese tech tree. It's one of the very first fighter aircraft you can research in the Chinese air tree, It has a max speed of 505 km an hour and a max altitude of 10,800 meters. The rate of climb is about the same as that of the actual aircraft. For its BR, it has some guns that can be used to great effect, being armed with two M2 12.7mm Browning machine guns and two 7.62mm Browning machine guns. Its turning isn't great, and you will not win from a Bf-109 or Spitfire. For the role of interception though, this aircraft is a decent fit for its BR. Overall, it's the first closed cockpit monoplane in the Chinese tech tree, and can be used to good effect. It can be a pain to use sometimes, but it's not so bad I'd recommend against taking it for a spin. Either way, I think that we have reached the end of this Winged Vehicle Conversations. If you enjoyed this video, I'd really appreciate it if you left a like. If you didn't, then of course don't. I've been me, this has been Winged Vehicle Conversations, and I'll see you some other time.